Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome to Awaken Old City Church. We're glad to be able to do something a little bit different. We're meeting in homes today, and as a church we've never done this, and there's a couple reasons, and one of them is because our community groups that we've had over the last couple of months have been so rich and so filled with life. We were hoping to get a larger participation so that everyone could experience the goodness of what we've been doing and what we've been having. And of course, we know the church isn't a building, it's us, and we also know that Jesus says wherever two or three gather in his name, there he is. And so it's exciting to do something different, and it's going to be an incredible morning. And so I just want to share a couple things with you guys and start discussion for this morning. And so as we meet in homes and hope to have a larger participation going forward with community groups, it's for a few reasons. And so I wanted to start by reading from Acts 2, and I'm actually going to have you guys read it in a minute and discuss it amongst yourselves. We're going to be reading from Acts 2, verses 42 through 47 out of the NIV. And it says this: They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. And so in Acts 2, we have this incredible story that after the day of Pentecost, the believers all started really falling in love with what Jesus had said and the idea of community. And so it says there that they had everything in common, that they sold everything so that they could be together and that people could be taken care of. And so it's a wild verse to think about in terms of Christianity and our faith. And so one of the things that I wanted to just get us started talking about this morning is, what would it look like if we had everything in common? What would it look like if there were zero needs in our body, financially, emotionally? It's supernatural, of course, but also I think it would be so different from what we've experienced in the past, and especially some of our church experiences. We've never had anything like that where we were truly taken care of and that people knew that they were going to have exactly everything that they needed. And so I wanted to start with that. Then I wanted to springboard into this idea of church that Paul was building off of to the Corinthians. And as the Corinthians came together, they were experiencing all sorts of new ideas culturally, heightened education. There was so much to do. Jobs were aplenty. And so Christianity was forming, and they were meeting together and discussing all the goodness of what God has. And as we think about church, of course, on Sunday mornings, we accomplish a lot and many things happen. But one of the things that has always stood out to me is that in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, there's this idea that Paul has that each and every one of us should be contributing something to every time we get together, anytime that we meet. So I want to read this verse to you and maybe get us dialoguing off of that as well. So, now to each one the manifestation of the Spirit is given for the common good. And here Paul's writing to us saying that the Spirit manifests itself while it builds us up personally. It's manifest so that it can be common good. And something is shown where what I say benefits you and what you have benefits someone else. And so God gives us incredible gifts, but they are meant to be shared for the common good. Verse 8, to one there is given through the Spirit a message of wisdom, to another a message of knowledge by means of the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healing by that one Spirit, to another miraculous powers, to another prophecy, to another distinguishing between spirits, to another speaking in different kinds of tongues, and still to another the interpretation of tongues. All these are the work of one and the same Spirit, and he distributes them to each one just as he determines. So here Paul's saying that you and I have these incredible gifts and they're for the common good. And if our church experience is only sitting in a seat and saying hello and meeting on a level where we talk about the weather, we talk about sports, and then we leave as soon as the sermon's over, we don't get to experience some of these things. And so that's another question that I wanted to ask this morning. It's just like, what would it look like if we all were working together for the common good with our gifts and with the things that God's put inside of us? And then the last thing that I'll leave you with is a couple chapters later, 1 Corinthians 14 through 26. when talking to the leaders at Corinth and trying to establish what the church should look like, Paul says this: "What then shall we say, brothers and sisters? When you come together, each of you has a hymn or a word of instruction, a revelation, a tongue or interpretation. Everything must be done so that the church may be built up." And Paul says again, he uses each one. So that means that every one of us, when we come together, has something special to give. And like I said, Sunday is tough to do that. But if we are meeting in homes, then quite possibly this might be the way that we get to this aspect of Christianity, where every one of you has something to give and you're giving it. And so I'd like for you as a group maybe to discuss. I'd like for someone to read Acts 2:38 through 47 and discuss. I know it's a long shot to say, what would it be like if Awaken Old City had zero needs and everyone had everything in common and we sold everything just so that we could take care of others? I know that's would be a very difficult thing to do in kind of where we're all at right now. But I guess the question I want to pose to you guys and get you guys dialoguing is, what would it look like to start to work towards that? What would it look like right now if we all unanimously agreed we want to start to look in such a way where, like Paul described, and the way that it's described in Acts, that maybe we start to care for each other in a way where we are contributing more and we're starting to see people's needs met, and we're starting to see the church grow through our love and our affection and our attention to each other. So that's what I'd like to leave you with today. Feel free to discuss anything else that I've highlighted. Some of you have been doing letters to the church with us in community group, and you might have some things to add as you've been studying the word and reading. So hope everyone has a great morning, and maybe we'll do this again. We'll see how it goes. So everybody have a great day. Thanks so much.